George Jackson was born in 1941. He grew up in the ghetto of Chicago. His early life was difficult. Poverty and racism were harsh realities. Jackson's experiences with injustice began early. He was in trouble with the law as a teenager. In 1961, he was convicted of armed robbery. Jackson received a 1-year-to-life sentence. This harsh sentence for a petty crime reflected the systemic bias against black men. It would shape Jackson's destiny. Jackson was sent to San Quentin State Prison. Prison was a brutal and dehumanizing experience. It was here that Jackson began to educate himself. He read works by political theorists like Karl Marx and Mao Zedong. These writings opened his eyes to the systemic nature of oppression. Jackson became aware of the connection between his personal struggles and the broader fight for racial justice. He transformed from a troubled youth into a revolutionary thinker. He embraced the Black Power movement. Jackson became a powerful voice against racial discrimination and economic inequality. His writings and activism resonated with other inmates. They inspired a generation of activists both inside and outside prison walls. Jackson's time in prison was a period of intense political and intellectual growth. San Quentin became a breeding ground for Jackson's revolutionary spirit. He witnessed firsthand the brutality and racism of the prison system. Jackson saw how the system sought to break the spirits of black men. He refused to be silenced. He became a vocal advocate for prisoners' rights. Jackson challenged the dehumanizing conditions. He called out the psychological torture inflicted upon inmates. In 1966, Jackson co-founded the Black Guerrilla Family, a revolutionary group. It advocated for armed resistance against oppression. The BGF aimed to protect black prisoners from guard brutality. They also fought for better living conditions. The group's formation marked a turning point in prison activism. It challenged the power dynamics within the prison system. Jackson's eloquence and passion attracted followers. His writings, smuggled out of prison, reached a wide audience. These writings exposed the harsh realities of prison life. They articulated a powerful vision for black liberation. Jackson became an influential figure in the Black Power movement. He inspired a new generation of activists. In 1970, tensions at Soledad Prison reached a boiling point. 3 black inmates were killed by a white prison guard. The guard was never charged for these deaths. This sparked outrage and protests. In retaliation, another guard was killed. George Jackson, along with inmates Fleta Drumgo and John Clutchette, were accused of the guard's murder. The 3 men became known as the Soledad Brothers. Despite limited evidence, the Soledad Brothers were placed in solitary confinement. They faced the death penalty. The case became a symbol of the injustices faced by black people in the criminal justice system. It drew national attention. Activists rallied to their defense. The case of the Soledad brothers highlighted the racial bias inherent in the justice system. The trial of the Soledad brothers became a focal point for the anti-war and prison rights movements. Their case exposed the systemic racism that permeated the American justice system. Jackson, despite being imprisoned, continued to write and speak out against injustice. His book, Soledad Brother. The Prison Letters of George Jackson, published in 1970, became a bestseller. It cemented his status as a powerful revolutionary voice. Tragedy struck in August 1970. Jonathan Jackson, George's younger brother, attempted to negotiate the release of the Soledad brothers. He took hostages at the Marin County Courthouse. The event ended in a shootout. Jonathan, a judge, and 2 other people were killed. George Jackson was devastated by his brother's death. The incident further fueled his anger at the system. A year later, in 1971, George Jackson was killed by prison guards during an alleged escape attempt. His death under disputed circumstances sparked outrage. Many believed he was assassinated for his political beliefs. Jackson was 31 years old. Though his life was cut short, his impact was undeniable. George Jackson's legacy continues to resonate today. He is remembered as a powerful symbol of resistance against racial and social injustice. His writings remain relevant. They offer a searing critique of the prison industrial complex. Jackson's life and work continue to inspire activists, scholars, and artists. He is a reminder of the ongoing struggle for equality and liberation.